In 2023, a 58-year-old contractor in Ohio died suddenly of a heart attack. He had $340,000 in a savings account, a home worth $420,000, a small landscaping business generating $180,000 a year. He had worked for 30 years to build that. He had no will. Within 6 months, his family had lost the business entirely. It legally dissolved without a succession plan. The state controlled how his savings were distributed. Not his wife, not his kids. His eldest son spent $47,000 in legal fees fighting a process that a $500 document could have prevented completely. This story is not unusual. It is the default. Because the moment you die, the second you take your last breath, a legal process begins that most families are completely unprepared for. And without the right structures in place, that process is designed to take as much as possible from the people you love most. Today, we are going to show you exactly what that process looks like and exactly how to stop it. The legal clock starts the moment you die. Several things happen simultaneously, and none of them wait for your family to grieve. First, your bank accounts may be frozen if your accounts are held solely in your name. No joint owner, no designated beneficiary. Most banks will freeze access immediately upon notification of death. Your spouse cannot pay the mortgage. Your children cannot access funds for funeral costs. Everything stops. This is not a policy. This is law. The only money that moves freely in the first 24 to 72 hours is money that was already structured to transfer automatically: joint accounts, accounts with a named pay-on-death beneficiary, or assets held inside a trust. Everything else waits for the court. Second, if you own a business, it may begin dissolving immediately. In most U.S. states, a sole proprietorship legally ceases to exist the moment the owner dies. No succession plan means no business. Employees lose jobs, contracts become void, a lifetime of work evaporates overnight. Third, the probate clock starts. Probate is the legal process through which a court validates your will, or, if you have no will, decides what happens to your estate. It is slow, expensive, and completely public. The average probate process takes 9 to 18 months. In complex estates, it can take years. Attorney fees alone typically consume 3 to 7% of the gross estate value. On a $500,000 estate, that is $15,000 to $35,000, paid before a single dollar reaches your family. And every detail, every account, every property, every debt becomes public record. Anyone can look it up. This is the default. This is what happens when you do nothing. Probate is the single most misunderstood process in personal finance because most people assume it only applies to the wealthy or the complicated. It does not. If you own a car, a bank account, a house, or any asset solely in your name without a designated beneficiary, that asset goes through probate when you die. That is most people. That is probably you. Here is what the process actually looks like. A petition is filed with the probate court. A judge appoints an executor, either the person named in your will or someone the court chooses if you have no will. That executor is legally responsible for inventorying every asset, notifying every creditor, paying every outstanding debt, filing final tax returns, and eventually distributing what remains to heirs. While this is happening, your family cannot sell the house, cannot access the investment accounts, cannot transfer the car title. They wait and they pay. Court filing fees, executor fees, typically 2 to 4% of the estate, attorney fees, appraisal fees, accounting fees. By the time the average estate clears probate, 10 to 15% of its total value has been consumed by fees and taxes before a single dollar reaches your spouse or children. On a $400,000 estate, that is $40,000 to $60,000. Gone. Not to your family, to the process. The wealthy have known how to avoid this for generations. The tools are not secret. They are just never taught. "60% of Americans die without a valid will." 60%. When you die without a will, a legal state called dying intestate, the government does not ask your family what you wanted. It applies a formula. Each state has its own intestacy laws, a predetermined hierarchy of who gets what. In most states, assets flow to a spouse first, then children, then parents, then siblings, in fixed percentages determined by statute, not by your relationships. This formula has no idea that you were estranged from your brother. It does not know that your youngest child has special needs and requires a larger share. It cannot account for the business partner you promised 30% of the company. It will never know that you wanted your college roommate, your closest friend for 35 years, to receive anything at all. The formula does not care. It applies mechanically, coldly, permanently, and it creates family conflicts that destroy relationships in ways that no amount of money can repair. Consider this. If you are unmarried with a long-term partner and you die without a will, your partner receives nothing in most states, regardless of how long you were together, regardless of any verbal promises, regardless of shared property. Everything goes to blood relatives, some of whom you may not have spoken to in years. A will does not require a lawyer. Platforms like Trust and Will or LegalZoom offer legally valid wills starting at $39. A handwritten holographic will is valid in many states with no cost at all. 60% of Americans are gambling their family's financial future on a $39 decision they keep postponing. What the IRS collects before your family does? If the probate process does not take enough, the tax system is waiting as a second line of defense. Let's walk through every tax that can hit an estate, because most families only learn about these after it is too late to plan around them. Federal estate tax. In 2024, the federal estate tax exemption is $13.61 million per individual. Estates below this threshold owe no federal estate tax. Above it, the rate reaches 40%. Most families are not affected by federal estate tax today. But this exemption is scheduled to drop dramatically in 2026 when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act provisions expire, potentially falling to around $7 million. Millions more estates will suddenly be exposed. State estate and inheritance taxes. 12 states plus Washington, D.C. impose their own estate taxes, with exemptions as low as $1 million in Oregon and Massachusetts. 6 states impose inheritance taxes, meaning your heirs pay tax simply for receiving money, regardless of the estate's total size. If you live in one of these states and own a home worth $800,000 plus retirement accounts, you may already be in taxable territory. The inherited IRA trap. This is the most devastating and least known tax trap in estate planning. Before 2020, a child who inherited a parent's IRA could stretch withdrawals over their own lifetime, minimizing the annual tax hit. The Secure Act eliminated this. Now, most non-spouse beneficiaries must withdraw the entire inherited IRA within 10 years. If your child inherits a $500,000 IRA and is in their peak earning years, those forced withdrawals could be taxed at 32 to 37%. turning a $500,000 gift into a $315,000 gift after taxes. The IRA you spent decades building, managed carefully, protected diligently, demolished by a 10-year forced withdrawal rule most people have never heard of. Capital gains on inherited assets. The step-up basis. Here is one of the few tax benefits that actually works in your family's favor. But only if they know about it. When someone inherits an appreciated asset, a stock bought at $10 that is now worth $100, the cost basis steps up to the current fair market value at the date of death. Your heir sells it at $100. Their taxable gain is zero. This step-up basis rule saves families billions in capital gains taxes every year. But it only works on assets that pass through the estate properly, not on assets gifted before death, and potentially not on assets inside certain trust structures. Knowing this rule could save your family tens of thousands of dollars. Not knowing, it could cost the same. Here is what wealthy families figured out generations ago, and what most middle-class families are never taught. Every single problem we have covered in this video is avoidable, legally, completely, with the right structures in place. Tool 1, the Revocable Living Trust. A revocable living trust is the single most powerful estate planning tool available to the average American family, and one of the most underused. Unlike a will, a trust does not go through probate. Assets held inside the trust transfer to your beneficiaries immediately upon death. No court, no waiting, no legal fees, no public record. Your spouse can access the accounts the next day. The house can be sold within weeks. The business continues operating under the successor trustee you named. A properly drafted revocable living trust costs $1,000 to $3,000 through an estate attorney. It bypasses probate entirely. It keeps your financial affairs completely private. And it can be updated anytime you change your mind. For a $500,000 estate, a $2,000 trust saves $40,000 to $60,000 in probate costs. A 20 to 30 times return on investment. Tool 2, beneficiary designations, the most important checkbox nobody fills out. Retirement accounts, life insurance policies, and many bank accounts allow you to name a beneficiary directly. These assets pass entirely outside of probate, regardless of what your will says. The problem is that most people set these designations once, at 28, when they open their first 401k, and never update them. Divorced? Your ex-spouse may still be the beneficiary of your $400,000 retirement account. Had children after setting designations? They may receive nothing. Named a minor? A court will control the money until they turn 18. Updating your beneficiary designations costs nothing. It takes 15 minutes. It is the highest impact, lowest effort estate planning action you can take today. Tool 3, joint ownership with right of survivorship. For married couples, titling your home and bank accounts as joint tenants with right of survivorship means these assets pass directly to the surviving spouse, instantly, automatically, outside of probate. No court, no waiting, no fees. This is free to set up. Your county recorder's office and your bank can handle it in a single afternoon. Tool 4, the Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust, ILIT. For larger estates approaching the estate tax threshold, an irrevocable life insurance trust keeps the death benefit out of your taxable estate entirely. Meaning a $2 million life insurance payout passes to your family completely free of estate tax. Without this structure, that same $2 million payout could be subject to 40% estate tax, delivering $1.2 million instead of $2 million. The ILIT is standard practice for estates above $5 million. Most families never hear about it. Tool 5. Annual gift exclusion. Every U.S. taxpayer can give $18,000 per recipient per year, completely free of gift and estate tax. A married couple can give $36,000 per year per recipient. To 2 children, $72,000 per year, transferred tax-free. Over 20 years, $1.4 million moved out of your estate, with zero tax, zero probate, zero government involvement. This is wealth transfer hiding in plain sight. Wealthy families use it systematically. Most families use it never,